Yeah, good.
But the brains in a bull market being confused as always.
Right. All right, Congress, we'll get to Congressman Bachus is back in session just in time for the President's job speech tomorrow. Joining us is Congressman Spencer Bachus, Republican from Alabama. He's the chairman of Financial Services Committee. Are you going to go tomorrow night, Congressman?
I'll be there, Joe.
How many, what will it be, 90% attended by Republicans?
I would think all of us will be there. We know we have to work together with the president, and we know that it's important work getting this economy going and creating jobs.
Should we do the payroll tax? Should we extend that? That's the one thing that I guess most people think is bipartisan. Do you?
Well, it relieves small business, and small business creates 90% of the jobs in this country. You know, that would help, but that has a cost. Now, if you want to do something without increasing spending, you roll back on these regulations. We've had a tsunami of regulations. In fact, the President and the administration issued a report recently about 219 regulations, many of which were costing $1 billion a year,
right,
that they plan to roll out in the next year.
About double from Bush, right? About I think I mean every year there's those things go in. The government is the government, but this is a lot more than normal.
Oh, absolutely. But you know, normal isn't good enough, Joe. What we need to do is start repealing. And I've heard talk about for every one you regulation that you institute, you ought to repeal 2 of them. Why do we need any more new regulations? I mean, we've got too many right now. Why have any more? Why not have a moratorium on regulation?
Right.
You know,
it's not going to happen.
We had a hearing in Noonan, Georgia, with small banks about 2 weeks ago. A regulator came into that bank and told the bank not to make a loan to a developer that had already pre-sold the lots and houses to go up because they already had made too many real estate loans. Now, we don't need another regulator or examiner in a bank saying to a bank, this may be a safe loan, but you know, you're doing too many real estate loans.
But Congressman, I get the feeling that Republicans think they have the president on the run to some extent on a lot of this in terms of, because we see polls, people don't want to spend anymore, I think. But in the past, you would have done the payroll tax holiday. Are Republicans just going to say no just for political reasons because we're now electioneering already?
Well, Joe, you know, it's important that none of us look towards the next election and try to get reelected. You know, Thursday shouldn't be a campaign speech. It should be a speech to the American people, those that don't have jobs, those that are worried about their jobs, those businesses that want to create jobs. And really what I'd like to see the president do is say, I'm going to get out of the way of business and let you create the job. I'm going to quit trying to artificially create jobs. The government doesn't create wealth. The government doesn't create jobs. Business is ready to create the jobs. They don't need any help from the president. They don't need any help from the administration. They don't need help from the Congress. They just need us to get out of their way and repeal some of these regulations that are killing jobs and creating uncertainty. And you start with Dodd-Frank, you start with the health care bill, you start with all these energy regulations. They're ready to build Keystone is ready to build a pipeline out of Alberta, Canada that would create tens of thousands of jobs and reduce the cost of energy to our manufacturers. And, you know, they're holding that thing up on a bunch of bogus claims, environmentalists. The administration needs to throw its weight behind letting us go after Marcellus Shale, natural gas, bring down the cost of energy. You know, we can create 1 million jobs in energy, and we've got to create probably 20 million jobs over the next decade.
Well, Congressman, I'm interested that you mentioned sort of Dodd-Frank in terms, and I know that your committee has been looking at that. Can you tell us a little bit about how you see things and what you're trying to accomplish there?
Well, we're trying to fight the next war. You know, the problem, we all know what the problem was. It was over-leverage. It was the subprime lending. And we passed a subprime lending bill about 1.5 years before Dodd-Frank, which would have taken care of most of the problems. We had complaints about the credit cards. We passed a credit card bill a year before Dodd-Frank. Dodd-Frank was late to the party, and it is killing the small banks and their ability to loan money. Look, you need, and Richard, you know this, you're in the business. Capital is what businesses need to create jobs. And, you know, the banks are tied up. They're afraid to lend. Capital is frozen in this country.
All right, I guess we got to go. I just love the name Dodd-Frank. I mean, you got to admit, Chris Dodd and Barney. I mean, that just. I mean, doesn't that sort of? I mean, I know you're looking at me like I'm out of line, but I mean.
Sounds almost like a cereal or something.
Well, it does, but Dodd, #1 on you know, the aunt friend of Angelo.
He's going a more political direction.
And then